Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is a 376 Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As most of you know, I numbered my battles, but I think if I was to name this battle, I think I would name it something like A Tale of Archer Power, or the return of the archers to the 31k battlefield. Just to say, when Stevelongshanks and myself started the 31k battles, probably about 10 years ago now, archers in a Roman army were an integral part of that army. Most Roman armies would probably have 3 archer units. But over the years, the archer units went down from 3 to 2 to 1. And then for many years, no archers were bought at all. You could have big 4v4 Rome battles, all Roman armies, and not a single archer unit on the battlefield. But I've noticed now that more people are starting to bring archers back to the battlefield, and they're using them very tactically and strategically, as I hope you will see in this battle. As you can see, this battle was fought on a custom map supplied by Brotherhood member Crypto. Our first teammate is Brotherhood member Aurelius, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. If you notice here, you'll see that he's got just 9 infantry and 5 archers. Okay, 9 infantry, 5 archers. Now, is 9 infantry a low number for the modern day battlefield? I see he's got his Roman infantry general and an eagle unit, so he's got a lot of morale there for his infantry, which is a good thing, but only 9 infantry. I just wondered what you think about that. And as you see, he's got 5 archers. And I see the upgrades on those archers are 6, so he's got gold shield, gold attack on those archers, and I see he's got 6 cavalry. I just wondered what the upgrades are on that cavalry. Just have a quick look. And he's got 8 upgrades, so he's got 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now, we've talked about this before. This Praetorian cavalry is already elite cavalry, but you put 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on them, and that kind of makes them super elite. So those cavalry will be something to watch, I think, during the course of the battle. But as I say, 9 infantry on the modern day battlefield. What do you think about that? Be interesting to see what happens there. Okay, our next teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has unusually bought an old Carthage army here. Okay, it's unusual to see this old Carthage army, and I think I've got 14 spear units there. If you notice the upgrades, 7 upgrades. So they've got an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. I've got 3 Balearic slingers. They've got lots of ammunition and quite good range, but only 3 cavalry. Okay, but if we have a look at the upgrades on that cavalry, you'll see that I've put 8 upgrades. Okay, so this this Sacred Band cavalry have got 2 experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So that's my old Carthage army there. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Bark, who has bought the Seleucid faction. And Bark's got 10 pikes, 10 pike units there, and I think he's got 4 archer units. Okay, remember those pike units are very susceptible to archer damage. That's why he's got those all those archers there. I see his pikemen have only got 6 upgrades, so he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his pikemen, which makes me think he spent his money on the upgrades for his cavalry if he's only got gold shield, gold attack on his pikemen. Is say he's got I think he's got 5 heavy cavalry and a chariot unit. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his cavalry. As I say, I think he's going to be spending his money on his cavalry. Yep. Okay, he has fully upgraded his cataphract cavalry. Okay, so they've got 9 upgrades. That's 3 experience striped, gold shield, gold attack, which gives them a massive 29 defense. Okay, I think a Praetorian cavalry unit with gold shield, gold attack has just got 26 defense. So a fully upgraded cataphract cavalry there have got 29 defense. As I say, we call these guys the tanks of the ancient world because they're armoured from head to toe. And as I say, fully upgraded cataphracts there. They can be battle-winning troops, incredibly difficult to kill. And I see Bark has also bought a chariot unit, but I think he's only got 1 upgrade on from what I could see. Remember, these chariot units got good attacking specifications, got a big fear factor, but if they run amok, they can be a menace to both friend and foe alike, as they kill both friend and foe alike, and they seem to be even stronger when they run amok. So bringing chariots is always a bit of a gamble there, but I think in general that's a pretty good balanced army there that Bark has bought. Okay, and our last teammate there is RTW player Scorpion King SR. Now, Scorpion King hasn't got any saved armies. At the setup stage, he looks at the factions that he's up against and he builds custom armies from scratch. Now, just like I draw your attention to here, he's only got 5 infantry. Okay, just 5 infantry. Okay, he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on that infantry. As you can see, 7 upgrades, but only 5 infantry there. Okay, now, is that one of the lowest infantry counts you've ever seen on the 31k battlefield? And I see he's got 9 archers. Okay, so he's got 9 archers, 5 cavalry. Let's have a look at the upgrades on those archers there. Right, okay, he's put 7 upgrades on those archers. So he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so he's put a lot of upgrades into those 9 archers, but only 5 infantry. And I see he's got 6 cavalry. My guess is he's probably put some good upgrades on his cavalry. Yeah, he's got 8 upgrades. So he's got 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. As I say, he's got no saved armies, and he builds, every time he plays on RTW, he builds his armies from scratch and custom. And as I say here, with 9 archer units and just 5 infantry, I'm just thinking to myself, the enemy will probably look at this flank as a weak part of our battle line here, because all they've got to do is push forward, and the only thing Scorp can do is retreat. Because he's only got 5 infantry, if he stands and fights, they will be overwhelmed by enemy troops. So that's the only thing that he could do, is withdraw. So as I say, if the enemy pushes on our flank here, then that could be looked upon as a weak spot. But as I say, Scorpion King looks at the factions that we're up against, and as I say, he builds his armies from scratch. So as I say, to bring 9 archers, he must have a reason for that. But as I say, only having 5 infantry, what do you think, the viewers watching this? Do you think that's an army that you would push against if you were on the other team? Would you look upon that army as a weak link? So there's our team there. Let's see what happens next. Okay, and here is the other team. We have a Brotherhood member, Trajan, who has bought the Pontus faction. You can see here he's got 2, 3, 4, 15 pike units, I think. Yeah, 15 pike units, 1 archer, or is it 2 archer units, and I think it's 3 chariots there. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his Pontus pikeman there. I see his pilot shield unit has got 6 upgrades, so he's got gold shield, gold attack. But if you go further back into his formation, can you see the Pontus pikeman there behind? I've got, I think it's 8 upgrades, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. And my guess is that, yeah, the rest of his pikemen there have got gold shield, gold attack there, and 2 experienced stripes on each one of those units. Okay, so that's really good upgrades on those pikemen there. As I say, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack, 2 archer units. Remember, those 120-man units were extremely susceptible to missile damage, so he's bought 2 archers there. Unfortunately, they're only short-range archers. And I see that he's got 3 chariot units here. See how the upgrades, I think, from what I can see, he's only got 3 upgrades on those chariots, so I'm not sure whether that would be attack or defense. Remember, these chariots got a big fear factor, a big attacking specifications, but they also run amok. And remember, like we've seen in other battle videos, if these chariots run amok, they become a menace to both friend and foe alike on the battlefield, killing both friend and foe. So as I say, bring in chariots. If you use them properly at the right time, they can be battle-winning troops with that fear factor they bring to destabilize enemy units and make them rout. But if they do run amok, as I say, they can be a real menace to both friend and foe alike there. So there's a balanced Pontus army there. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Mad King, who has unusually bought the Britannia faction. Now, if you notice here, he's got 10 of their elite chosen swordsmen. And I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think those units are fully upgraded. Okay, so they've got 3 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack on those chosen swordsmen there. If you look at them there, you can see the standard bearer carrying the barbarian standard there. And as I say, those are the elite infantry of Britannia. And if you notice here, his general is a druid unit. Now remember that barbarian units' morale is very low, so you need to bring a religious faction if you can that increases their morale. And I see that Mad King has made his general the druids unit here. So he's got his general morale bonus plus the druids bonus there as well to give his infantry as much morale as he can. And I see he's got just 3 head hurler units. Usually these days people bring armies of head hurlers, but yeah. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I think he's got 7 upgrades on his head hurlers. Remember, those heads are effective against armor, and they bring a fear factor, okay, as well. So there you go. The real head hurlers used to dip their heads in lime, so even if the heads just touch the skin of an enemy, it would cause terrible burns. but as I say, those heads are effective against armor and bring a fear factor. And I see he's gone for the really dear Barbarian Warlord chariots. Okay, you've got Britannia heavy chariots and you've got the Barbarian Warlord chariots. These guys have got 5 hit points. Okay, 5 hit points and are incredibly expensive. Okay, but pound for pound, I would say that those are the best chariots in the game. They don't run amok. And they've got big attacking specifications, and as I say, they've got 5 hit points when most chariots have only got 3. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Legion 22, who has bought the Macedon faction. Now I think he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he's got 14 pike units there. If you notice, the upgrades on his polar shield unit just 3, which I'm guessing would be gold defense, because obviously he wants them to hold as long as he can there. They will obviously soak up the pilers, and then behind him, his next line in his battle formation is 7 upgrades, so an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack. And the same in his second battle line, but if you move to his third battle line there, can you see that he's got 8 upgrades, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So he's got staggered upgrades in his formation. Staggered upgrades are pretty good because the enemy have to fight through the lower upgraded troops before they get to your more elite troops. So hopefully they'll be tired before they get to your elite troops and you could do more damage. And you see he's got 5 Cretan archers with 6 upgrades, gold shield, gold attack. Don't forget, those 120-man units are extremely susceptible to archer damage, and that's why he's got those long-range Cretan archers. He hasn't got any cavalry there, but I see he's got a fast-moving general unit there, which my guess is he'll probably try and target enemy archers with, as he usually does with a fast-moving cavalry unit. Their 4th teammate is the host of this battle, Brotherhood member Crypto, who has bought the Germania faction. Now, just like to draw your attention there, can you see he's got 7 archers? You've got 6 upgrades on his archers. He's got gold shield, gold attack. These are long-range archers. They're so good that when they run out of arrows, you can use them as light infantry. They're that tough. But they have got a good long range and do a lot of damage. Okay, let's have a look at his infantry. Now, he's got 3 units of chosen axemen. Okay, just 3 units of chosen axemen there. And I see he's just got 6 upgrades on. So he's just got gold shield, gold attack. But remember, these chosen axemen have got effective against armor axes there. And they can cut wide swathes through heavily armored troops like Roman urban cohorts. But he's only got 3 of them. And I see behind them there, he's got his 3 berserker units. So he's only got 6 infantry. I see his berserker units have got 6 upgrades on, I think. So that's gold shield, gold attack. But if you look at the difference between size of those berserkers and the axemen, can you see how big the berserkers are? Now remember, those berserkers have got 2 hit points. They got effective against armor maces, and don't forget, they bring a big fear factor to the battlefield. And these guys are based on real historic characters that really used to go berserk in battle, either through drinking a cocktail of drugs, being drunk, or had mental health issues, and they were feared by both friend and foe alike on the battlefield. There are tales that said that they kill anything that moves by them, so even their allied troops used to, in battle, it used to avoid them, and even out of battle they had an aura about them that people just couldn't take to them. I see he's got 6 Gothic cavalry there. If you look at the upgrades on that cavalry there, I think he's got 8 upgrades, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. And this Gothic cavalry, very underestimated cavalry. If you have a look at their specifications, you'll see they are extremely good cavalry. And as I say, he's got 6 units of them. And as I say, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack. But only 6 infantry. Is that good enough for the 31k battlefield? I guess we'll just have to see there. And I see he's got 1 peasant unit as well. I'm guessing it's going to be some kind of polar shield unit. So there you can see the enemy team. Alright. Now if you notice that each one of these factions are extremely susceptible to missile damage. So now maybe you can see why Scorpion King has built that custom army that he built with 9 archers. Okay. He's looked at the factions they're up against. And he's got his 9 archer units there, ready to cause massive casualties. He's got 8 well-upgraded cavalry to protect his archers, and he's got his 5 infantry units there. But the main reason he bought those 9 archers is because he saw that the enemy factions, every single one of them, are all extremely susceptible to missile damage, and that's why he's bought so many archers. So as I say, Scorpion King hasn't got any saved armies. He just builds his armies from scratch when he sees the factions he's up against. So I guess now we can see why he's bought his 9 archers. Aurelius has bought 5 archers as well, because he could see the factions we were up against also. So it'd be interesting to see how well the archers do during the course of this battle. Could it be the return of the archers? Okay, at this stage of the battle, you can see Scorpion King moving his archers fast towards the Pontus enemy there. Now remember, there's a lot of big 120-man units in this battle, which does cause lag. Okay, those of you that fight on RTW, we know if there's big 120-man factions, how much lag there is, and you'll see that there is a bit of lag in this battle to start off with. Right, can you see here Mad King is charging his elite chariots towards Scorpion King's archers there. Okay, he's hoping to rout those archers in one hit. See those chariots going in there? They're going to go in and bang as those chariots hit. But if you notice that Scorpion King is counter-attacking with his cavalry. Notice how he let those first archer units hit his archers there, just to absorb the charge, and then he charged his cavalry in after there. It was a nice tactical hit there by Scorpion King's cavalry there. Don't forget, those archers are shooting all the time into those chariots as well, causing them casualties. So in one hit there, I think Mad King has lost 2 or 3, maybe even 4 of his chariots units there. I think he charged into the archers with those chariots, those elite chariots, thinking he might be able to take them out with the fear factor and the big attacking specifications they've got. But Scorpion King countered well with his cavalry there. Can you see this archer unit there targeting those Pontus chariots with fire arrows, trying to panic them, making them run amok? Remember, fire arrows will panic chariots and will make them run amok if you can get enough fire arrows onto them. Okay, can you see Scorpion King here moving his army forward, hoping to get into archer range to make the most of those 9 archer units that he's got. If you notice here, the enemy have gone very defensive here. If you notice, they've kind of not bunched up, but they formed up quite closely here, and they're going to probably move their archers out to try and counter Scorpion King's archers. But as I say, I think the enemies, most of the enemy archers that are coming towards, and those Pontus archers, are short-range archers. The chosen, the Germanic chosen archers have got good long range, and of course the Macedon Cretan archers have got long range as well. But as I say, with only 5 infantry units here, as I say, the enemy team may look at him as a weak part of the battlefield here and may decide to push against. Let's pause the game for a second. Right, if you notice here, he's got 1 cheap archer unit, the Roman archers here. Okay, these are a lot cheaper than the more elite auxiliary Roman archers, okay? But if you notice here, he's got him out front of his main archers there, because he wants the enemy to target his cheaper archers, okay? Let them waste their more expensive arrows on his cheap archer unit while he keeps his more elite archers in the background there. So that's a good move by him there, making them use their expensive archers on his cheaper archers. As I say, you can see that Legion's brought that fast moving general unit over to this flank, his Macedon unit there, probably to target this this archer unit here, as you can see, charging forward there with that cavalry unit, looking to take that unit out. Let's say he always uses that fast-moving cavalry units that he brings in a very effective way. As I say there, you can see he's trying to chase down that 1 archer unit there. But as you can see here, can you see Pontus here? I think it's Trajan here, moving his Pontus army towards Scorpion King's army. And as I say, if you push forward here, bearing in mind that Scorpion King's only got 5 infantry here, the only thing that Scorpion King can do is pull back if they decide to push towards him. But remember, when you're running, your troops suffer even more casualties from archer fire. So in a way, it's a bit of a trap, really, because if that Pontus general kept running towards Scorpion King, every time he's moving, he's going to be losing loads of troops to those archers. So it is a kind of a good move there by Scorpion King. And he'll use his cavalry extremely well as well. Notice he hasn't got his cavalry in wedge formation, he's got them in ordinary block formation, because in block formation they move faster. You can move them around the battlefield a lot quicker. Most people tend to use their cavalry in wedge formation just before they engage the enemy. Obviously the wedge formation makes the cavalry penetrate enemy troops more, causing more casualties. But just for general run around the battlefield, just keep your cavalry in normal block formation, if you like. See those Roman archers still shooting, those auxiliary Roman armies, Scorpion King still shooting loads of arrows into Pontus there. Will be causing a lot of casualties there. As you can see, Crypto's bought his long range chosen archers up here as well to target our team. Just a word about my Carthage army here. As I say, what I want to do here is I want to pin and hold that Macedon army. Out of all the enemy armies there, that Macedon formation army is probably the best army that they've got there. And what I want to do is try and pin and hold that army with my army there. Okay, as I say, you got the big 120 man units against my 81 man units, but Carthage does punch above its weight here against these big pike units. And all the time here, Aurelius will be shooting arrows into those pike units. I see he's moving some cavalry around to the right flank, so I'm starting to think, I'm wondering if he's thinking to do a right flanking action here with his infantry and cavalry. I see the Britannia general's also seen that as well. If you notice, he's moving his swordsmen over to that right, those chosen swordsmen over to the right there, and some of his chariots as well. So they may well be anticipating Aurelius might be doing a right flanking action. Okay, can you see Legion here moving his infantry forward? Okay, it's no good him just standing there, because he knows he's taking casualties from my slingers and from Aurelius's archers as well. So I think he's thinking he needs to do something here. So, but what I want to do, as I say, I want to engage, hold and pin that Macedon army. And if I can do that, then that may well make them a target for my allies' archers there. If you notice there, as I say, Aurelius's archers are shooting directly into them. My slingers are shooting slingshots into them as well at this time. We've got Bark's archers shooting into them as well. But as I say, it looks to me that Aurelius, the way he's positioning his infantry and his cavalry, he's looking to do a right flanking action here. And as I say, Mad King with his Britannia army has anticipated that and moved his infantry out to that flank. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. As you can see here, I'm moving my Carthage army forward, ready to engage that Macedon army. And as you can see here, Aurelius is looking to do a right flanking action here, probably looking to take on Mad King's chosen swordsman there, with a view. He probably thinks with his Roman army there he'll be able to take out those chosen swordsmen, and if he can do that, he can then move into the flank of those Macedon pikemen. Remember, those Germanic archers there are shooting into probably Bark's infantry. They're causing a lot of casualties there with those chosen archers. But at the rear here, you can see the Germanic army there of 6 infantry. Okay, now Crypto's probably, he won't target, obviously, Seleucid because of the pikes. He won't target my Carthage because of the spears. Remember, barbarian troops die quickly on spears or pikes, but he may well target Aurelius's army. If Aurelius pulls too far around there, he may well attack. There's chariots coming in as well with their fear factor. He's got his berserkers for fear factor. He's got the whole of the Britannia army there. He's got head hurlers here. So Aurelius's army Aurelius needs to be a bit careful there on that flank, because it looks like the enemy are anticipating his flanking attack there. Okay, I see Bark is moving his pikemen over there, maybe to support Aurelius. But if you notice here, can you see Mad King moving his chosen swordsman forward here to engage Aurelius's SBQR infantry? As I say, with so many 120 man units here, with so many of those big factions here, it does cause lag on the 4v4 large game. So there is a little bit of lag in this battle. But as more units are killed, you'll find that the battle does speed up a bit. Hope it doesn't spoil your enjoyment of the battle too much. Okay, can you see the Germanic cavalry and infantry are now moving down to Aurelius's infantry here? Okay, now Aurelius seeing that here, may be a good thing to back off behind his Seleucid pikemen there, because obviously he doesn't want to get involved with berserkers. Yeah, let's just pause the game for a second. So as I say here, you can see Britannia and the Germanic faction there moving down to Aurelius. Can you see Bark is looking to move his pikemen over, maybe to integrate his pikemen with Aurelius's infantry there, which would be a good protection against barbarian troop attack. Okay, over here you can see my slingers there are shooting loads of slingshots into the Macedon pikemen there, and I'm moving my spearmen forward. Now, just like to show you the difference here between the length of the Macedonian pikes. See how long those pikes are. Really, really long. Okay, in comparison to my Carthage spearmen. Okay, my Carthage spearmen here look very short spears in comparison to the length of those pikes. Okay, look at the length of those Macedon pikes. Now, my spearmen have got to fight all the way down those pikes to kill the man on the other end. Okay, so that's why I'm going to attack in a dense, tight formation there to try and do that. Meanwhile, Scorpion King over on our left flank here, if you notice, he's moving his army more into the central area of the battlefield here, probably looking to target the flank of Macedon there. Now, if you notice, that cheap archer unit we saw earlier, that Roman archer unit, has been shooting fire arrows into the enemy chariots here, and he's made one run amok. Okay, so the fire arrows there Okay, still a lot of, I mean, that's a full unit there, 18 chariots there, but the fire arrows panic them so much and their morale is so low they have no run amok. And if you notice, they're running now into their chariot allies there, probably chopping down some of their own chariots there with that run amok chariot. You see what I mean? Run amok chariots are absolutely devastating. Now you imagine if you had dense infantry around there, the allied team's infantry, that chariot would be chopping them down. You lose whole units, nearly whole units there to those chariots there. But meanwhile, back to the centre part of the battlefield here, you can see that Aurelius has gone over to the right flank. But can you see the threat that's all around him? Newer players who roam throughout the world, can you see the threat? Okay, so he's got, let's have a look here, he's got chariots out here. Remember, with their big fear factor, big attack specifications, he's got that elite Gothic cavalry well up to coming in there, coming on his right flank. He's got the Germania chosen axemen and those berserkers with their big fear factor all looking to hit him there, and he's a little bit away from his pike ally. So if the Germania and Britannia chariots there move fast, they could hit his army, and that could cause big problems there. Let's see what the enemy are going to do. Okay, Aurelius is seeing the danger. He's trying to pull his army back, but can see the Germanic general there charging his cavalry, and now bang as it charges in. He's charging his chosen axeman forward and his berserker units there. Can you see one berserker unit, the red banner flashing, has been activated right? Can you now see all three berserker units? See their red banners flashing, they have been activated. And this is great timing by the Britannia general. They're bringing his chariots in, and bang as the chariots hit. So you've got the berserker fear factor, 3 of those. You've got 3 chariots bringing their fear factor and big attacking specifications. And you can see that Aurelius's SPQ army is starting to rout. Even his general's gone already. You can see the Britannia general's also bringing some of his chosen swordsmen in there as well. They're trying to take out Aurelius's whole army here, his infantry and his cavalry. That is a massive hit there by both Britannia and the Germanic faction there. A nice combination hit by them here on Aurelius. Let's just pause the game for a second. So with those 3 berserker units with their fantastic attacking specifications and the fear factor, plus the Britannia chariots charging in there as well, can you see Bark is trying to move his pikes over to help here? But if you notice here, the enemy have put kind of blocking forces in the way there with those Britannia infantry and those Germanic axemen to stop him bringing reinforcements over there. Meanwhile here, I'm still trying to push into those Macedon pikemen, but if you notice on my left here, I'm also getting attacked by Pontus long-piked pikemen there coming in on me as well. But my job here, as I say, is to try and hold and pin those Macedon infantry as long as I can, try and cause as many casualties as I can. They've got head hurlers right behind them as well. Remember, with those effective against armour heads, also bring fear factor. But what I want to do, as I say, I want to just try and push hard into those Macedon pikemen there. As I say, pinning and holding them there, and hoping my allies will be able to concentrate their archer fire on them as I move forward. But as I say, I've got there's Scorpion King there with his 5 infantry against those Pontus pikemen. But because he's only got 5 infantry, those Pontus pikemen have got spare pikes to be able to charge into the flank of my attacking Carthage Sacred Band spearmen there. As I say, I'm moving forward all the time, trying to get to the rear ranks of those Macedon pikemen there, trying to do as much damage as I can, trying to take out as many of those Macedon pikemen as I can. So just pause the game for a second. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, okay, most of Aurelius's cavalry and infantry have been taken out, and I think it'll only be a short time before all of his infantry and cavalry have been taken out. Okay, he's still got his 5 archers left, which he'll be shooting into the enemy as fast as he can. But for all intents and purposes, all of Aurelius's infantry and cavalry have now been taken out. Okay, you can see here our Seleucid ally is fighting Britannia here. Barbarian troops do die quite quickly on pike, so it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Right, can you see here Scorpion King charging in with his cavalry, and Bark's also got a chariot unit in there attacking the soft, if you like, the soft units of the enemy there, smashing into their archers, causing a lot of casualties there. As I say, the enemy have bought a lot of more archers there, archer units there, and with Scorpion King and Bark's chariot unit there, they're going to cause a lot of casualties to those enemy archers. So that's a nice little hit there by Scorpion King and Bark, as I say, going into the soft target there of those archers in behind the enemy infantry. Don't forget, Scorpion King will probably be moving his archers around tactically there, looking for the best way to target the enemy. But meanwhile, you can see my Carthage Sacred Band here is being targeted by Pontus on the left and Macedon at the front. But as I say, Bark and Scorpion King here routing a lot of enemy archer units there. As I say, nice surgical hit by them into the soft targets of the enemy in behind their main battle line. So that was a good hit there. Newer players to Rome Total War, see what great use of cavalry and chariots can be done there on the enemy soft target. So you see the Germanic cavalry coming up there to try and counter the charge there. Let's say over here on the right flank. Now the disadvantage with berserkers is once they go berserk, the Germanian general loses all control and they just go for the nearest enemy unit. And unfortunately for them, they've targeted a pike unit. And remember that all barbarian troops, including berserkers, will die quickly on pikes. So those 3 berserker units there now have targeted one of Barak's pike units there, and they will die quite quickly. And will probably have no part to play in the battlefield there because obviously they'll be dead. And as you can see here, the Britannia troops are charging in to our Seleucid ally there as well with his chosen swordsman. But also up here now, can you see I've got chosen swordsman charging into the right of my Carthage Sacred Band as well. Okay, so not only am I pushing forward trying to take out as many Macedon units as I can, I'm being attacked on my left by Pontus and by my right by the Britannia chosen swordsman there. But as I say, I want to keep pushing forward. I want to try and take out as many of those elite Macedon pike units as I can. Right, I'd like to draw your attention here to a tactical movement here by Scorpion King, how he's tactically positioned his archers here now. And he can now shoot arrows into the back or the flank of those enemy pikemen there. Okay, a nice tactical positioning of his archers there, protected by his cavalry. He's got his infantry units there as well, and those archers now can just shoot as they want into the, as I say, into the flank or the rear of those pike units, which we all know are extremely susceptible to archer damage. Okay, so he's positioned his archers extremely well there, and as you can see here, Barak now is doing quite well with his pike units there against the Britannia faction there. But as I say, my Carthage Sacred Band here are being squeezed on 2 flanks. I'm still trying to push forward here. As I say, I want to pin and hold these Macedon pikemen as much as I can, cause as many casualties to them as I can here, especially as we've lost our SBQ army, you know, its infantry and cavalry have gone. And those Macedon pikemen, if you look at their specifications, they're better than Seleucids, so if our Seleucid pikemen go up against them, they will probably lose. Right, you can see Scorpion King using his cavalry extremely well there, hitting the flanks and rear of engaged enemy pike units there. As you can see here, can you see I'm charging my Sacred Band cavalry into those Britannia troops? Bang! As my cavalry hits. And you can see Barak is also charging his Cataphract cavalry into the flank of those Macedon pikemen here. So we're trying to do what we can here with our cavalry against the flank of the enemy troops there. Probably causing a lot of casualties there. And let's just pause the game for a second. You can see a lot of my Carthage Sacred Band spearmen have now been routed. But as I say, I'm still pushing forward, still trying to get to that Macedon general there. If I can take him out, that's what I'd like to do. But as you can see, a lot of my Macedon spearmen have been routed. Barak and myself with our cavalry are trying to cause some enemy casualties here on the right here. But there's still enemy head hurlers throwing heads in, and there's still those enemy Germanic archers shooting in as well. Right, you see Mad King bringing some of his chariots, his rallied chariots back in there to attack Scorpion King. Scorpion King's just got a few battle damaged cavalry left now, but there's a lot of Germanic cavalry, and with those Britannia chariots there coming as well, attacking Scorpion King's infantry units there. Looks like they were trying to take out his general there. Can you see the concentration of troops on his general? The Scorpion King has charged his battle damaged cavalry in there, trying to neutralise that attack on his general. Okay, I think that's my general's just been taken out there now. So as you can see, most of my Carthage Sacred Band spearmen have now been taken out. But I've done what I wanted to do really. I've held and pinned those Macedon pikemen. I've caused a heck of a lot of casualties, I hope, to them, allowing my allies to target them now with their archers. If you notice here, can you see Barak running his Seleucid pikemen forward there towards the enemy. I've seen a lot of Macedon units routing it as well at this stage. Don't forget, all the time they're being shot into by our archers. I can see Scorpion King shooting loads of fire arrows like rain onto the rear of those big 120-man pike units. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. So as you can see here, I think Aurelius's 5 archers are shooting continuously into the enemy. I've got Slinger units shooting into the enemy as well. But the main thing is here, can you see that Scorpion King has got his infantry in behind him? Yep, they're battle damage, but he's got his infantry in behind them there, engaging a Pontus unit. He's got some battle damage cavalry out there as well, but he's got his archer units there. If you notice, they're actually shooting loads and loads of fire arrows into the rear of the engaged enemy troops. Okay, so don't forget, those fire arrows don't just cause casualties, they lower the morale of enemy troops as well. And those pike units, those Pontus, are not very good morale anyway, so being hit with fire arrows is going to lower their morale, making them more susceptible to routing. But you can see he's really pummeling them with those archers there. Loads and loads of, as I say, fire arrows like rain coming in on them there. As I say, causing casualties and lowering their morale. Now, if you notice here, can you see that Barak has moved his Seleucid Silver Shield pikeman forward there to engage the enemy? So that's a good move by him. But all the time here, you can see the rain of arrows that we're shooting into them all the time. As I say, I got my slinger shooting slingshots into them as well. As I say, those big 120-man units, extremely susceptible to any missile damage, so they're going to be taking loads and loads of casualties. And of course, the more casualties they take, the more their morale is going to drop, making them more susceptible to routing. As I say, this is a real showing of how well archers can be used on the modern 31k battlefield here. And I think it's a good demonstration of newer players to Rome Total War. If you build a 31k army, maybe look to bring archers, because you can see the damage that you can do with them. And if you use them strategically and tactically, you'd be surprised on how many kills you'll get at the end of a battle there. As you can see here, I think Pontus and Mastodon here are looking to box up a little bit. If you notice here, Legions put a unit to face Scorpion King's SPQR units there. But I can see a big gap there. Can you see a big gap there into the rear of those engaged units? I'm going to charge my cavalry. Right, can you see my cavalry charging in there? My Sacred Band cavalry just about to hit them. Bang! As I smash into the rear of those engaged enemy pikemen there. The impact of that, bearing in mind how their morale would have been lowered by the arrows and the casualties they've taken there, and we've managed to rout the enemy pike units there. So, as I say, I might have lost most of my infantry there, but I think the job that they did weakened the enemy enough there for us to, and the archer fire that we've used as well, and the great tactics of the team there have managed to go on and win the battle there. Let's just pause the game for a second. So all the time, don't forget, Aurelius' archers were shooting into the enemy, causing big casualties all the time. We got Barak's archers shooting into them as well. Let's say we got more Barak archers there. I've got my slingers shooting into them, and then Scorpion King's mass archers there as well in close formation. And of course, in close formation, the arrows come down in tighter formation there, so they can cause more damage to the enemy. And that is why I think those big 120-man units kind of routed there. As I say, players to Rome Total War, when you play 4v4 large battles, if you've got a lot of those big 120-man units, I think we have 3 factions of them, Pontus, Macedon, Seleucid, it does cause a bit of lag. So I'm sorry if the lag spoiled the game at all for you there. You see there's one Macedon pike unit left there, but he's been so battle depleted that it wouldn't surprise me if it routed quite quickly. It says distraught by enemy numbers. Probably if we get some cavalry near them, something like that, they'll probably rout as soon as they sense the cavalry there. See, they're wavering already. Even with good upgrades on like that, they're being shot by arrows as well, and then they've just broken there. And I think that was the last, possibly the last enemy unit there. Okay, first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. Really well played, everybody there. And just say it was an average victory. But I'd just like to draw your attention to Scorpion King SR's kills there. Okay, do you remember he had 5 infantry, 9 archers and 6 cavalry? Who would have thought that he'd have got 2,340 kills? Okay, now he did well with his cavalry and infantry, but the vast majority of those kills were from the archers that he bought. So as I say, bringing archers now to the modern day battlefield is something that people are doing now. As they can say, if you use them strategically, you can see my army, old Carthage army of mine didn't do too badly. But archers, if you bring them, use them strategically and tactically, you can get some really good kills. Barak did well. Aurelius probably didn't get the kills that he wanted to, but he was caught over on that right flank there by that double hit. So that's probably why he didn't get the good kills that he wanted there. The other team got some quite good kills. I don't think Mad King and Trajan probably got the kills that they wanted there. But really well played to their team. Nice attacking aggression there. But as I say, archers, I think they're making a comeback. As I say, when we first started 31k, probably about 10 years ago, everybody bought archers with their Roman army. But over the years, they've gradually not been used. But now people are, in the last maybe 4 or 5 months, people are bringing them there. And I think it's great to see how well they're used. See, I like this battle also because there's lots of different factions. Can you see there's, what, 6 or 7 different factions in this battle as well, which I hope made it more interesting. Okay, so Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle. Look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.